Hey everyone, my name is Mark DeFrancia and I am the creator and founder of Creative Self Mastery. Creative Self Mastery is a group that started out about 15 years ago. And back then we were working predominantly in personal development. In the last 8 or so years, we've been making the transition from personal development to personal leadership because we feel that there is a significant difference. And one of the things that we came to understand during lockdown uh, was that we are leaders all the time. Each one of us is in a leadership position every day, and whether it's up to us whether we choose to accept that responsibility for the leadership. But a lot of us were forced into leadership positions in during lockdown that were um, unlike anything that they had been in before. Suddenly they weren't just managing their families, but they were managing having to teach their families, having to be surrounded by their families 24/7, and even having to be in lockdown with spouses that they were not amicable with. And so we started back then something called the pace car conversations, being the pace car. And the idea of the pace car is that everybody in every situation there is either the leader or the follower. There's always somebody setting a pace and everybody else following. So uh, so it never became more obvious that there was a need for everyday leadership tuition, education, um, as it did during lockdown. So from lockdown on, we have been working to create leaders not only in the corporate world, but in the private sector as well, because we believe that if everybody sees themselves as a leader, then they're more likely to step up and make sure that the energy moves to the best outcome for the group. Um, that the energy moves to the best outcome for that particular situation. So, joining me today are two of my hub captains, Mihir Patel and Taylor Coburn. This hub thing, when we call them hub captains, what we've started here, as you're curious, I can see you've clicked on the video, so you want to know what we're doing with this group, Everyday Conscious Leadership. What we're doing is creating a group in various hubs around the world that join us in this agreement that we need more leaders, more conscious leaders, in every facet of our lives. And we're looking for people who accept that challenge and want to be better versions of themselves and want to be better leaders in whatever situations they're in. So this group is dedicated to exactly that, creating everyday conscious leaders in the world. Um, and the concept really is that we have hubs. I'm here in Asheville. Mahir is in London. Taylor is in Berlin. We have a hub in Marseille. We have another one in Tampa, Florida. And we will be looking for hubs throughout the world, actually. We've got our eyes on Warsaw at this point. Um, and we're looking to start hubs where, again, everyday leaders can have experiences with each other, can network, can have some fun, exploring and learning new concepts, can have a sense of community, and some really fun events to go to. So I've asked both Taylor and Mahir to come in today and just rifle off some questions in hopes of, rather than you having to go through and read our FAQs or any of that, it's just an opportunity for you to get a sense of who we are, and hopefully get some good questions answered in the process. Yeah. So guys, you got anything you want to start off with?
Yeah, sure. First off the bat, I would say, what do we expect our community members to experience when they're in part of our sort of conscious leader communities? I know that we've talked about online events and potentially in-person events, hence why we're doing them on a global scale and stuff. And what kind of experiences are we kind of aiming for, and what kind of experiences do we want to create and have them
Okay.
be part of?
Well, one of the big drawbacks I think with Meetup is that people join, but they don't really do much. The groups just kind of exist ever since COVID. The groups really exist virtually online. Very few groups are actually getting together doing things. Um, and I'm just sick of doing things online. I mean, God Almighty, I've been doing things online for years. And at this point, I just miss being around people. And I think everybody kind of misses being around people a bit. So the whole the whole object or the whole end result for what these groups are doing is to get people um, in a room together or out in a park together, having experiences where they're just talking, just sharing ideas, just communing. Yeah. So we're looking to build community from the perspective of leadership. And again, this isn't the broad corporate concept of leadership. This is just skills that will make life easier for you and the people in your orbit. Yeah. And the events will be designed to do just that, to teach, as well as to entertain. So there will be there will be meetings that will be formally dedicated to education. There will be meetings that will just be formally dedicated to community and having some fun. There'll be workshops, webinars. Some will be complimentary. Some will be your option to take to purchase. Um, there will be speakers on a regular basis. Once a month, we expect to have a speaker come in. If not, the hub leaders will be bringing speakers in. There will be um, there will be conversations once a month. We've got 5 hubs at present. At the end of that conversation, we'll have 5 conversations to put on our website. 5 conversations about one topic. Say the topic is accountability. I give a speech on accountability. I give a lecture on accountability. The other hub captains, they either do it themselves, or they send people in. They bring people in to speak on accountability. At the end, we've got 5 conversations on accountability that go right onto our website. So now we become a compendium for where people can access more information about leading in everyday situations. And in a way, everybody's contributing to that, not just the hub captains, but every member of Everyday Conscious Leadership is contributing to to not only the education of the people in their hub, but to people all over the world.
That sounds really great, Mark. I'm wondering, and I'm sure others will be wondering this as well, how often will there be events, and will they cost anything?
That's a good question. As I mentioned, some events will be paid events. If we're doing a workshop, if I'm coming to Berlin to do a workshop for your people, then yeah, chances are I'm going to be charging for that workshop, cover expenses and things like that. But there will be plenty of free, um, you know, events, including meetups and meet and greets and picnics in the park and things like that. Um, and that the frequency of that will really depend on each hub captain. Each hub captain has the autonomy to have as few or as many or as few events as they want. They will have to have the one monthly meeting on whatever subject we're choosing that month. That one lecture I just was speaking about. But other than that, the frequency of events will be determined by hub captains. Likewise, if there's a cost for the event, that will be determined by hub captains. We will. I'm here to say my goal is to keep this, um, you know, reasonably free. Yeah, I don't want money to be a barrier between people coming in for these things And so our philosophy at Creative Self Mastery is very much one of mutually beneficial reciprocal relationship, and so we're looking to to be a benefit to everybody as much as we possibly can. We're going to offer as much free information as we can. However, in order for that to be mutually beneficial, there will be events that we will have to charge for. And again, you can count on one event a month, which will be a lecture. At the very least, one event a month that will be a lecture. At that lecture, we're expecting that will be, and that in the beginning it may not be. In the beginning, it may be a virtual event, but we are working. We're working to bring 5 hubs up to the same level, and once we do that, the same level of operation. And once we do that, then the structure of where this event will take place in your community will be more solidified, and and it will probably be the type of event that you would attend. But that's just the meet and greet. I mean, that's just the one monthly meeting that we're committing to. I'm committing to for every hub. And when I say the meeting we're committing to for every hub, I expect that the hub members will commit to other meetings as well. But this is one that we will all be in agreement on, and we will present this every month. That will be an event that will probably be food based. There will probably be some food there because I love throwing. Any event I throw typically has food in it. I'm a former chef and I love food, so we'll probably see some food based, some food at these events, this monthly meeting that we're talking about, and we will see speakers, whether it's the hub captains or somebody that they've brought in to give you a little bit of some information from a different perspective that you might not have heard before, and it's also an opportunity at those meetings to go over our values, and make sure that we're all in alignment with our values as well. Because again, we're not looking, for people who have agendas to come in to figure out how to boss people around. We're looking for people that are looking to genuinely lead, and to lead with kindness, compassion, and consciousness. So probably strayed a little bit away from your question there, Taylor, but you know me, that's what I typically do.
Yeah.
So are there any more questions?
Well, from my side, honestly, I think we've given them enough for today. And if there are any more questions, we can certainly cover them in another video or when we meet at one of the next meetups. Okay, cool. Well, I agree. I don't want to overload people with too much information. I will say that that this is not, this may be a new venture for us, but this is something we've been doing for quite a while now. And we really love the community aspect of what we do. It's the biggest part of what we do is create community, and then serve people in being able to lead within those communities very much more consciously. So if you're a single parent running your own home, if you're if you're in a social group, if you're in a collab, big word these days. If you're in a collaboration with people, you are a leader, or potentially a leader. You're going to either be following or leading in those situations. Our goal is to make you the most powerful leader in the room, and the most conscious leader in the room, so that you are serving the group and also us, because this is our mission in life. You're serving to bring the energy to the best outcome for everybody involved in that situation. This is the ethos of what this group stands for. If that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then you should absolutely join Everyday Conscious Leadership in your hub. And
you should absolutely attend, because guys, this isn't a passive group. This is a group where attendance is important, not to just the attendees, but to the mission of the group. I am Mark DeFrancia. I am the creator and founder of Creative Self-Mastery. I am very pleased to be joined by two such powerful leaders as Taylor and Mihir, and I strongly encourage you to join our group and spend some time with us, and be the best leader that you can be.